Hello, everybody. Hello, LinkedIn. Welcome to my first LinkedIn Live. Slightly behind schedule, but it's all fine. we are here. And I am joined by Lee Rennie from, now let me say this properly this time, Melu. I kept calling it Melu, but it's Melu. Thank you so much for joining me, Lee.
Thank you very much, Jeri. I'm so glad you got the name right that time.
I'm going to have to try and remember that. Melu.
Yeah,
So
it's obviously spelled Melu, but don't worry.
it's not the point. We've got to get it right. So thank you so much for joining me today. Before we get into this live, let's just give everybody a brief introduction from you. You know, a little bit of background about what it is you do, and a little bit about Melu.
Sure. So Melu is a managed live chat company. So we basically put live chat software on our clients' websites, and we have a team of operators that look after it for them. So think of like a call answering service that you would divert your calls to when you're busy. Someone answers it, represents you, takes a message. We do that on your website, and we do that 24/7, all based in the UK.
Amazing. So, and just so everybody knows, Smooth Accounting are a Melu customer, and we have been for a few months now, I think. Is it? It was July time?
I think it was July you signed up.
It was July, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I'd just gone off, I think, to take some extended leave, but it was all operating while I was away. And and we've absolutely loved it. It's really made a difference to the number of inbound leads. I think before we get into kind of the more technical side of it and what it does, tell everybody a little bit about how you came to start Melu and why.
Yeah, so I started my web design business a long time ago, actually, 20 years ago, straight out of university. And I built websites for a living for, 17 years. And during all of that, I thought that most websites that we were building were pretty much underutilized. They didn't get as much as the client wanted, and they just didn't feel like there was enough going on with them. And so the opportunity to start a live chat company came up, and it just seemed like the perfect fit for us because it was a web-based thing, but also it was going to help people get more from their websites, which I think everyone really wants and works very hard to get. But it's not easy, as you'll know yourself. Marketing your website, handling leads, taking phone calls, keeping the content up to date. It's a lot of work. So that was me a long time ago, and now I'm the chatty guy instead of the web guy.
There might be a slight issue with my image or people being able to see me, but we're going to keep going, and Luke is on the case, just adjusting that.
Okay.
So when did you start Melu?
So Melu started in the summer of 2018. So we're just over 3 years old. We're based in Oxford, obviously in the UK. All our operators are in the UK, and we work 24/7. And you're back on video,
Yay!
which is great.
Hi! Everyone was pleased for a bit because they didn't have to look at me, and now I'm back again. Sorry, everyone.
I'm surprised we didn't lose half the audience there where you disappeared. And who's that guy?
Great. So just for people that don't really understand about live web chat. No, hang on. What did you tell me to call it?
Managed live chat.
Managed live chat. There's no web.
Yeah, or live chat in general.
Why do I have to? I don't know why I have to add the web bit in every time. Like managed live chat is fine. Why do I do that? Okay.
As long as you don't call it a chat bot, that's the main thing.
Oh, okay. It's definitely not a chat bot. It's real people. So for people that don't really understand the benefits of managed live chat, what would you say to them?
Well, it's all about really the things that you want to get from your website. So it's generating leads, and it's providing really good customer service. So even existing clients might be on your website and want to just ask a quick question. And it could be something really simple, but it's having people there. I think that's the key thing. If you think about how a business normally would operate, if your phone rang, you'd always answer it. If you couldn't answer it, you'd probably have it redirected so that somebody could, or you'd hire a secretary. The same is true for your email. I mean, people check their email through the day because they don't want to miss an opportunity. And if something comes up, they want to react quickly. So The problem here is websites are generally just sat there static with nothing more than a phone number on them. And if they have people on them and they can answer chats within a few seconds, it really helps get engagement up, and it helps generate more leads.
Yeah, so that's the ultimate goal, isn't it? Generating more leads. And I suppose more specifically, the leads that you want to generate. So and we'll talk about this more in a minute, but how you can tailor the service to, because for companies that are listening that don't necessarily or can't imagine how it would work for their business, I think I had a bit of this initially, because I was thinking, well, we've got a great website and we get inquiries through our website all the time, so I don't get how this would fit. I know when we first had that first conversation, like, how will this fit with what I'm trying to do? But actually, people are naturally lazy. we're all lazy, and we like convenience, I think. So, you know, if you've got to fill a form in, you might do it. But if you can see there's somebody there you can chat to, you're definitely more likely, I think, to chat to someone, aren't you?
Absolutely. And I mean, there are people that will always just use the phone. You know, I know people that will call me. I'll send them an email and they'll call me back. They won't respond to the email.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And that's what your phone number's for. And yeah, there'll be people that will send an email or they'll fill in a form. But it's the people that know that live chat is a good solution. That means they can speak to someone there and then, and they can find out their answer, or at least get connected to someone in that moment.
Yeah.
And there are more and more of those people visiting websites.
Yeah.
And so the fact that most websites don't cater for that, it's just a really missed opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing as well here is, whilst we're a managed live chat company, that means we look after live chat for our clients. I would recommend everyone have live chat on their website. And if they can look after it themselves, that's perfect, because obviously they know their business really well and they'll be able to answer everything in that moment. But of course, that's the problem, you know, having enough people to look after it, or having to look after it yourself when you've got other things to do. That's the trick. And I think that's why most people don't bother with it, because they think, I'll either have to do it to myself, or I'll need a chatbot, and a chatbot's going to be a robotic thing that probably will annoy people more than help them. So they don't bother. So that's what we do. We're trying to educate that actually live chat is available to everybody, because you can have it done for you by a person.
Yeah, exactly. And just touching on that then, because, and we've seen it a few times with the inquiries that we've had through, where people have come through our website, talked to somebody on our live chat through Melu, and they've said, are you a bot? Are you a real person? And then whoever the operator is has said, no, I'm a real person. You know, I'm actually here. I'm real, and I can talk to you. And I think that straight away people go, oh, okay, fine, and then they'll engage. Whereas I don't know about you, but like if I go on a website and it's a bot, I'm like, oh, you're not going to give me the answer I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean, so bots need to be really well programmed from the experience that I've had with them, and some companies use them really well, but they cost thousands to do properly, because you have to work out all the different nuances of what people want. Most of the time, the chatbots that we're used to seeing on small to medium business websites are generally a free thing that's been chucked on. And it does turn people off, because you almost know that you're not going to get what you want, and it just means you're not going to try. Which is why people ask, are you a bot or a real person? We get it a lot. Lots of chats. Nearly every client has had at least one person say, are you a bot? Yeah. And as soon as you say you're not, it's like, okay, cool, let's talk. Yeah. Even though they don't actually know for sure that's the case. It could be a very clever bot programmed to say, no, I'm a real person. Chat to me. But of course, that will unravel afterwards. So yeah.
Yeah, it will. Yeah. I don't understand the question. Like, no, you are a bot. And how we're using it, I'm assuming different companies in different industries will have a different need for it, because it may not be just for sales leads. Am I right? It could be people that want information, or I don't know. Like, are there other uses for the live chat services?
Absolutely. So, I mean, lead gen is the biggest one. And so for anyone who's in accountancy, that's the biggest thing. Most visitors that come onto your website know what they want. They haven't stumbled upon your website thinking, what should I buy from this accountant today? It's very much, I have this need, can this accountant do it? Yeah. Other sites will be more, like e-commerce, for example. There could be a range of products, and they don't really know what they want, or they know what they want, but they're not sure about other items. So they can ask questions about it. The interesting thing here, though, is that most of the time the answer is actually on the page they're viewing. But I mean, you said something earlier about general laziness of people and stuff. It's become to a point where unless something is right there on the page at the very beginning in big letters, it's not going to get seen or it's not going to get read. And so often we're giving information that's already there, but if we weren't there to give that, they may not have found it and just gone elsewhere. So that's the customer service element of it. Lead gen obviously is a huge thing, but then there's also if there's any online processing to be done, like booking something or buying something.
Yeah.
We've got e-commerce clients that get around 10% of their online sales every month come from someone chatted first, then purchased, because they just had that little question about delivery or whatever it might be. So it can, I think the ultimate goal is it will make more money for the business, whether it's through online sales or lead gen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it depends on the value of the lead as well. I mean, using a counter as an example, one client to you, average size is worth so much per year, and if you got one of those a month, you kind of think, great, this is working really well. If you're selling a £10 widget, of course, you need to sell more of those to the live chat to justify it.
Of course.
So it's not going to work for everybody.
No.
But
Sorry, I just had a little bit of issue with the sound there, but it seems fine now. And I heard everything you said, so that's fine. So there are different uses of it, and I think that's really important. I can only think about it from my experience, and obviously we're accountants, and what we're finding is people coming onto our website and going onto the live chat and saying, I need help with this. Can someone help me? And the operator is not necessarily, they're not technically trained, they're not an accountant, they're not going to know the answer to that person's question straight away, but it sort of gives the person confidence when they say, someone will get back to you, can I take your contact details, and I'll pass it on, and a member of the team will call you, and someone just sort of feels like they've got a good outcome, I feel, from that, rather than filling in a form that goes off to the ether, and they don't know until they get an answer, they don't actually know if someone's going to get back to them.
Exactly. We don't even know if it's been received. I think that's the thing. When you talk to someone, in their mind, they picture someone in your office that they're chatting with. And the reality is they're chatting with Melu, but of course we act like we're part of your team. Just again, like if someone's answering a telephone call, they don't pick up the phone and say, hi, we're ABC answering the phone for Smooth Accounting.
No.
They act like they're you.
Yeah.
So the visitor feels like they have actually already spoken to someone and they're now in the system. So when you call them back 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, or whenever they've suggested you call back, they're already warmed up, so it's already that you're closer to the next step because of the live chat. And I think that's where the chatbot thing comes in, because as soon as they know it's robotic, it's almost like, well, this is just another web form. I don't know if anyone's going to see what I'm doing here, and it can turn them off.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Melu's pricing and packages and the sort of thing, because I'm sure people listening or watching are going to want to know this. they might even ask this as a question, but explain to the viewers how this works.
So it's basically down to how much volume of chats we handle. So it doesn't matter how long the chats take, and we're there available throughout the day. So I said we're 24/7. Most of our clients are on 8 a.m. till 10 p.m. 7 days a week, and then 24/7 for those who have that international element. And our standard price is £139 plus VAT per month, and that's for up to 50 chats. So to give an example to the viewers, we talked about the stats for you earlier on and how much you've had from it. In the last 30 days, you've had about 67 chats, and half of those were leads, which is really good numbers. And so you're just over the standard pricing. And basically, we just work out what we think you're going to get and charge accordingly. But the main benefit there is that it's not a contract-based thing. So it's a rolling 30-day contract. So you can cancel at any time. And if you suddenly get less chats in the future, then we'll change your pricing down to a lower level if necessary. So the idea for us is to just be super flexible, because if you've got a business that's seasonal or fluctuates or anything like that, we can scale with you, which is what would happen if you used a call answering service as well.
Yes. That's true. And I can't help but be a little bit smug about those statistics. So thank you for sharing those.
Well, I think that the thing
We
here is
have
how
a good website. We really do.
you do, and I think it's how many of those convert. Because obviously people are going to come on, and even with us, they'll chat, they'll give their details, and you may not be able to get hold of them afterwards, even though
Sure.
it looked like a good lead.
Yeah.
So nothing's guaranteed here, but having those opportunities, I think the key thing here is that where we talked about the people that will use the phone and the people that will use chat, where you've had those 67 odd chats, would they have picked up the phone otherwise? Or would they have gone to the next result in Google? And of course, we can never know that, but we don't want to miss that opportunity. So I'd like to think that that's the additional benefit, because you're still going to get people call you.
Yeah, exactly. And also for us, we are quite specific about the type of clients that we act for. So we've been able to sort of tailor the questions and answers via Melu, which has been great. But also, there's always going to be those inquiries that come through that aren't ideal for us, or we maybe are clients we wouldn't act for. Sorry, but we're able to pass them on to other accountants or advisors that can help those people. So you're sort of still able to help people, even if you're sort of still funneling them into the right place.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. So it's still making contact with people, and also you don't know what those people might need in the future, or they might come back, you don't know, and just you're reaching more people, I think, is how I've found it. Just by having the chat, you're definitely reaching more people.
Yeah, and because it's so easy for them to talk to you, you find out more stuff as well. That's another. It's kind of like it's hard to put a monetary value on it, but if people are asking similar questions, or they've got a query that you've seen come up before, you wouldn't necessarily have known that unless they'd have physically told you on the phone or sent you an email, and that's not so likely. So they might just drop it into a message on the live chat, and then you could go, okay, well, that's a blog post or webinar that we can produce, because loads of people obviously care about this subject and we don't have any content on it. So that's a hidden benefit as well.
Yeah, that's true, actually. That's really, really true. Just like if someone asks a question, like you say, you can answer it. I mean, certainly for us, and we put out video content and stuff like that, it's been useful because it's like, okay, we've seen this question now a few times, so let's do a video on that or something. Yeah, that's really true. I would just say to anybody watching, please do ask questions for Lee in the comments box, and Luke will tell me what they are, and we'll put them to Lee and ask him. So what is in the future for Melu?
So we're actually working on updating our live chat software and the whole system behind it, and we want to get it more hands-on. So at the moment, it's all about the lead generation and all that sort of stuff, but there's things that we can do to help with things like analytics and understand what people are doing when they're on the site, because someone chatting with you is quite a big deal, because they're sharing their details with you, and they don't really know who they're chatting to. They just know that they're chatting to somebody. So once someone does that, I think that's quite a personal thing, and it's important to know what happened and how they got to your site, where they travelled, what they clicked on. So we're working on that sort of stuff to be more analytical for the companies that can see that benefit and use it to get more from what we do.
Oh, okay. So like if someone came via Google or like clicked on something on another website and it took them through to that, you're sort of going to be able to provide that data?
Yeah, and seeing seeing their journey through the site as well, so you can get an idea of where. So they've come onto the homepage, say, and then they've gone to one of your services, and then they start a live chat. Are they doing that because they couldn't find the information on your services page? So there's all this stuff that can be used to improve what you do.
Yeah.
Because I think now companies are more and more spending money on getting visitors to their website. So you need to know what they're doing. And it's always been quite a tricky kind of dark art thing, Google Analytics and SEO and all this sort of stuff. So we're sat there, we've got real people literally sat looking at your website day in, day out. And we could actually see patterns of what's happening and patterns of people's use and stuff like that, depending on the seasons. So it's about tracking that sort of stuff, because I think people doing that's quite difficult. But if you can do it automatically, it'll make a real difference.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that's really exciting then. So that's all in the future for Melu.
That's 2022 stuff. Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Which is not that far away.
2022. It's not. No, no.
It's
I keep
scarily close.
smacking our developer saying, "Come on, it's it's gonna be Christmas before you know it."
Cool. Do we have any questions, Luke?
Yeah, I've got quite a few coming in.
Oh, we've got quite a few.
Ooh.
Be prepared, Lee.
Well, they might be for you, Jeri. They might not be for me.
I very much doubt it. Don't ask me anything about Melu. I don't know the answers.
Okay, got a question from Robert Smith asks, do you track the chats by day part, and have you seen an increase in out-of-hours inquiries in more recent years, e.g. 7 to 10 p.m?
Good question.
That is a great question. Yeah, so when we first started the business, we literally were 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. 5 days a week. So we were quite small at that point, and we very quickly saw lots of. So our chat widget, if you want, can turn into like a message mode. So it's almost like a form, and we were finding people were filling that in between the hours you've given are ideal, after dinner sort of thing, kind of settling down on the sofa, 7 o'clock in the evening till about 10 at night. We're getting all this stuff coming through. So we very quickly started operating then. And it's just as busy as it is during the day, because you get the different crowds. You'll get the lunchtime where it's busier, where people are maybe having a break and they're on their phone. And then you'll get the after school, and then you get the after dinner, like 7 o'clock. So yeah, it's definitely through the day. Like the quietest time is crack of dawn, first thing in the morning. But it ramps up from about 9, 10 a.m. And it pretty much goes through like that till 10 p.m.
Great. We've definitely noticed that we get inquiries in the evenings,
Yeah.
and even some like after the 10 p.m. cut off, we get the forms come through. Maybe people wake up in the middle of the night and think, "Oh my god, I need an accountant," and just just fill the form in. Any more, Luke?
Yep. One from Ashley Leeds, who asks, how easy is it to manage having live chat? I'm a one-man band.
Hi, Ashley. Again, good question. Over to you, Lee.
Yeah. So Ashley, I presume you mean there that you're looking after yourself. It's something where, depending on the software that you use, there's tons of software out there to do just live chat yourself. You put a little widget on your website. You have like a web front end you could use, but a lot of them have an app, so you can actually do it on your phone. And so a chat could come in while you're, I don't know, in your car or in a meeting. That's the tricky part, because you can't respond in that moment. But if you're free, you can do it on your desktop, you can do it on your phone, and you can have a conversation with somebody. And like I said earlier on in the live thing here, if you do it yourself, you are going to be able to answer everything. Of course, there's a part where you might think, well, am I going to give too much away if I answer too many questions? Because someone might just be fishing for price or certain bits of information that isn't on the website that maybe you would give them. And it could be a competitor, who knows? So sometimes it's better not to give too much and actually try and use it as a way of getting them on the phone. And that's ultimately what it's for. You capture them and then you talk with them later. Having said that, early on in our existence, we actually accepted an offer for a house through live chat.
Wow.
Because it just so happened that I was sat with the owner of the estate agency when the chat came in, and the person said it, and the operator was like on the phone saying, "Someone's making an offer on a house, how do we handle this?" And the estate agent went, "I've got authority to accept that, so tell them they've got it." And so, crazy things like that can happen.
I love
that.
But
Managing yourself is the ideal situation, as long as you can commit to it. And if you can do it outside of hours, and if your partner permits you answering chats at 10 in the evening, it's great.
Yeah. And you mentioned also earlier, and I think it's good just to reiterate, that all of your operators are UK based. So from a language barrier perspective, we've found that has worked really, really well, because there isn't a language barrier or struggles with language at all. So cool, Luke. Next question,
Ashley
please.
Says great answer, thank you. That's good. Yeah, another one from earlier on. Kelly asks, I think we touched on this a bit earlier, but just a sort of rundown of what kind of companies this would be beneficial for.
Yeah, what's the best companies? Thank you, Kelly. What's the best companies this is beneficial for?
Well, it pretty much works for everyone. When we started, we aimed at accountants and law firms because it was about the lead generation and the value of that. But since we did that, we've picked up all sorts of clients. So we've got a college here in Oxford, quite a famous independent college. We've got, as I mentioned, estate agents. We've got e-commerce. I think initially I thought e-commerce was going to be an issue because people ask questions like, where's my order? And we don't have access to their ordering system, obviously, because that's another system. But you just set up a process. Jeri kind of alluded to this earlier. We have a shared FAQs document with all our clients that allows us to see questions that will come up and the answers that the client wants us to give.
Yeah.
And so in those sorts of situations, you just say what member of the team will contact you. Can I have your order number? And as long as the client is responsive, it works really well. So I wouldn't say there's any industry it doesn't work, but if you're looking for leads and the leads are worth a decent amount, it's about quality as opposed to the quantity. We've got a coach, a business coach, and he's literally said, if you got me one lead every 6 months, this is worth the money, because that will be hugely beneficial to my business. Whereas we've got an e-commerce client that literally wants us to help sales every day.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't do that, then we're not working with them anymore. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So it really does depend on what industry you're in. But if it's professional services and you need leads into your business, or online booking or online sales, it's really good.
Yeah, definitely. Great. Thank you, Lee. Any more questions?
One's just come in. Maybe you can decipher this. Tamoy has asked the US CPA.
The US CPA. Does that mean anything to you, Lee?
Is that maybe like the cost of the software?
Is that the cost of the software, maybe?
Oh, is it cost per acquisition?
Cost per...
Possibly. Tamoy, let us know what you mean by that, and we'll
let
get
us
back to your
know
question.
specifically what that means. I'm just googling CPA.
Oh, we'll go to this.
I was worried there that it's some industry standard for live chat, and I didn't know what the answer was, so that would have been embarrassing.
It does stand for certified public accountant. So I don't know if that's cost per action. You said that, didn't you, Lee?
Cost per acquisition, yeah.
Is the calculated cost divided by the number of actions being measured? Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah. So, and what was the first part of that? Was it US?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, it's difficult to say because obviously it depends on how many chats come through. So the way we work is during the free trial that we give all our clients a free 14-day trial, you get a report every week. So you get a week 1 report and a week 2 report. And that shows you how many chats you had against how many visitors you had and how many leads came from those chats.
Yeah.
So you can quite quickly see those sorts of numbers and see which ones are the leads that then are potentially going to be a bit of business. Obviously in the free trial, there isn't a cost of acquisition because anything that comes through in that time, is yours and it doesn't cost anything. But moving on from that, it depends on how many you get and what comes from it. And it varies across lots of different industries. But we've got clients that get 400 or 500 chats a month and are paying us, upwards towards £1,000 a month for what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Most of our clients are very much in that 139 bracket, which is the up to 50 chats. So if you get 50 chats a month, you're paying 139. Cost per acquisition is probably a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, from an accountant's perspective, say we get 50 inquiries, say 25 of those are leads, say we manage to speak to 10 of them and we convert 2. I'm just making these up. But, if it's worth £1,500 or £2,000 a year, and you've got a couple of those a month, it's an absolute no-brainer.
Yeah. I mean, that's really the main point of the trial is we truly believe that live chat is a big difference maker to your website.
Yeah.
But if you're not getting the leads that you can actually convert, then it's hard to justify.
Of course.
Which is why we do the trial, because it's a way of you seeing that in action.
And that's a 2-week trial, is it, Lee?
It's a 2-week trial, yeah. And we've had people sign up and they've had no chats in 2 weeks. And whether that's because they didn't have the volume of traffic or their website wasn't quite right, we can't make people chat. We can invite them to chat and let them know that chat is there and there's a person available.
Yeah.
But you can't force them to do it. And we definitely don't make people start a chat by popping up in front of them and annoying them. No. So, the person has to want to do it.
Yeah.
So the more visitors you have, generally, you get more traction.
Yeah. So someone coming to you with, and it must be quite difficult, but for you, but someone coming to you with a website that's maybe not great and not bringing in much traffic, the web chat's not really going to work for them, is it? So they need to have a decent website in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's more about the traffic side than the website. I mean,
Yes, that's
the thing with
I always
websites
think
is,
about websites as functional. I never think about them as anything else other than do they bring traffic?
yes, well, they absolutely should. I mean, for having done websites for so long in the past, I don't see why any business should have a website unless it's there to bring them more business. And far more often than not, a website is kind of like a tick in a box, and it's, oh, the website's live, it's finished.
Yes.
And of course, it's never finished. It's an ongoing, like your sales pipeline and your marketing strategy. It's an ongoing thing that needs constant work. And if you're doing that, having live chat on there will absolutely make a difference, because you will get more from it, from having it. And then going back to, again, if you can look after that live chat yourself, you are going to be able to talk to more people and understand your visitors better, which is a good thing.
And then it might enable you to adapt your website to actually provide the information that people are maybe asking for in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because that thing they keep asking for, you make that your headline banner on the homepage.
Yeah.
And you're going to pull in more people that are interested in that information because it's right there, front and center.
Yeah. Does it have any impact on your Google rankings at all?
No, not at all.
No.
So this is something that I'm attempting, but I've got probably no hope here. But Google like websites that are engaging and that constantly change and are providing good content for the visitor. And I think having human operated live chat on a website should actually give you a boost, because you're not only giving them good content and a good experience, you're there for them.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I don't think Google sees it that way. But it definitely doesn't have a detrimental effect.
No, which is great. Do we have any more questions, Luke?
Yeah, one more from Tom. It's quite a long one, so just bear with me.
Okay.
Is there a good feasibility case for well-configured chatbots to release your team for more complex inquiries, or will it always feel like a rubbish response that just makes people want a phone number?
So what you mean there then is, I think what you're saying is, if the chatbot to it, I'm not quite sure if you mean from doing that yourself or us doing that. At the moment, if it's us, we will always have real people on there. That's almost our USP, I guess.
Yeah.
That no matter what time of day, no matter how busy things are, a person is always going to answer within 30 seconds. A chatbot, I think the biggest benefit of a chatbot is that it will always answer really quickly, because there's no holds barred, there's no queuing or anything.
Yeah.
It's of course how it then handles the person after that. Real people make mistakes as well. Nobody's perfect, so the human element isn't ideal in some situations, because people could say the wrong thing or misunderstand the question. But the chatbot is very much going to follow a path. And in fact, I think I've used it on recently. What was it? I think it was on Vodafone. You start the chat with a bot, and very quickly it gives you the option to talk to someone, and then a real person comes on. So it's almost like a little bot triage in a way.
Do you ever go onto websites and test their web chat facilities just to see if they're as good as yours?
I don't do it on purpose, but I will use chat,
Tell
obviously, if I need to. And I'm always very careful to, well, having been on the other side of it now, most visitors are really friendly. Most people are really polite. They'll say hello, especially when they realise they're talking to a real person. You occasionally get people that are rude, they're just blunt. If you don't give them the answer they want, they're rude.
Yeah.
So when I'm on a live chat, I try not to be the grumpy person, and treat them with respect, because it's a real person,
exactly.
So why be rude? But yeah, very, very rarely have I had a bad live chat experience when it's been completely human-led. Sometimes you get mixed responses. You might ring them back another time and they give you a different answer. But when they're big companies, you expect that. There's so much going on. But when you're a smaller business, it's easier to tune in on what people need and how you respond to X, Y, Z. It's
nice actually as well, because from a business owner perspective, when I see the chat transcripts come through, you can see the people that have gone, hi, I need an accountant, and then obviously the operator has replied. And then the prospect has then said, like, when they've said, okay, I'll get someone to get in contact, like, have a great day, they're like, you have a great day too, bye. And you're like, oh, that's so nice. I see, like, when the people are actually being really nice to the operators, or they're like, how are you? They're like, yeah, good, how are you? I'm like, Oh, that's nice. I like that.
Yeah, and that is good, and that's another part of the human element. People like to talk to another person. They like to know that they're not just being all very businesslike and I want this. It's funny you say something like that because we've seen plenty of chat transcripts where the first thing that the person has said has been very blunt because they thought they were talking to a bot,
Yes.
and then when the responses come back, they've almost realised that that's not quite what they're expecting. Oh, I'm really sorry. I thought you were a bot.
Yeah.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah.
So it shows what the visitor's thinking. They're already like guarded that this is just another chatbot. It's not going to work. Oh, it's not. Oh, well, that's cool. And that straight away leaves a good impression.
Yeah.
Because they're already thinking that, oh, well, you've taken the time to put a person on your site. This must be a good company to work with. And that's a good thing.
In reverse, it also makes me think, do I want to work with that client if they look a bit rude on the chat, and
yes.
They're like, can you get, because some of them will say like, oh, I get a member of the team to call you, and it might be like 3:00 in the afternoon. They're like, well, I need a call today, it's urgent. And the operator will go back and say, well, I can't guarantee it will be today, but I will, I'll let them know it's and they're like, well, it has to be today, and I'll try and phone other people, I'll try and get hold of other people. And you think sometimes people come across a bit rude and you can't always say it's rude because text is different to speaking.
It is.
But if sometimes I have read the transcripts and I think that person is rude, it does put me off a little bit wanting to deal with them. So they might not always get a call.
Well, that's another part of it, is that whole pre-qualification piece. And like you said earlier, where sometimes a lead that's coming through from us might not be ideal for you, but it's better to have received it and be able to maybe pass it on than to not have got it. But of course, something else we can do is over time, that the more we're on a client's website, the more we understand about their visitors. So the FAQs is an evolving document that always gets better.
Yeah.
And the more questions people ask, the better we can respond. And sometimes there are things that come up where they might have said something that is a trigger point to be like, is this the right person?
Yeah.
And we can actually go down a path of almost not taking their details if we don't think they're right.
Yeah.
Not so much from they're rude, so don't talk to them, but more from they want something that maybe you don't do or isn't right for you.
Yeah, so it's not a waste of our time, basically.
Yeah.
Cool. Do we have any more questions, Luke?
No more questions. I'm just pulling these from LinkedIn, guys. So if you're on YouTube and have a question, hop over to the LinkedIn. Tom's just added, thanks for the answer / discussion.
Thank you for participating, Tom. We're very grateful on my first LinkedIn Live.
Yay.
Not that I was nervous or anything, because I was fine. I was absolutely fine. Great. So we'll sort of start to wrap it up, I think, now, but are you offering any promo discount type thing for listeners today?
Yes. Okay. So we, as I mentioned earlier, we do a 14-day free trial.
Almost dropped yourself in it there.
Is this being recorded or is this purely live and no one will ever see it again?
It's being recorded.
14-day trial.
Yeah.
The standard pricing is $139 plus VAT per month. What I did mention earlier is if you have very, very low traffic, we can also work with you there and give you a more bespoke price that's lower.
Okay.
But for Jeri and this LinkedIn Live, this is a first, yay. Anyone that goes through trial and goes onto a paid account will get 25% off their first month as well as the trial. And on our website is where you sign up, and there's a little promo code area on the form. If you just write Jeri, so Jeri in there, we'll know that it's you from this webinar, and you'll get your discount if the trial works out for you and you want to go onto a paid account.
I love that I have my own promo code with my name.
Yeah.
I've made it.
You have made it. I was gonna make it smooth, but I thought, no, let's call it just shorter. It's easier to write.
Although no one ever spells my name right, so
that's why I thought I'd spell it out just in case.
Yeah, just in case. And I will do a post anyway later and make sure everyone knows that.
That would be brilliant. But a note to anyone that spells Jeri with 2 R's and a Y. We'll still take that. Yeah. Don't worry.
Any spelling of Jeri will be accepted.
That's how you know you've made it as an influencer, when you have your own promo code.
I know, that's it. influencer
Exactly.
level now.
We've got one more question actually.
One more question.
Aaron, who's come over from YouTube. Thanks, Aaron. For coming over
Thanks,
to the LinkedIn.
Aaron.
Aaron Patrick from QuickBooks. He asks, I have seen website building tools / software using Facebook as the chat solution. Is this something we should be wary of? I feel a little uneasy sending info to Facebook, which is, I guess, understandable.
Yeah, it is.
Ooh. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I know lots of people that stopped using WhatsApp because of all of the Facebook stuff and the tech problems. That's something that we ourselves are going to add. So when we do our changes next year, we're going to be able to manage our clients' Facebook Messenger as well and treat it like live chat. But I think the issue here, and what Aaron's asking, is the security of it.
Yeah.
You sending messages through and that sort of stuff. I can't really comment on that. I mean, they're supposed to be super secure, but as we know from a few weeks ago, someone managed to switch their website off quite easily. So who knows? I've seen lots of Facebook Messenger on people's websites. I think the problem with it, talking about it from a functional point of view, is that it isn't really live chat. It's a conversation. And Facebook has an algorithm that knows how long on average you take to respond if someone uses your Facebook Messenger for business. And it will tell them that. And sometimes that can be 24 hours. And of course, on a website, someone wants an answer right now.
Yes, they do.
So unless you can instantly answer everything that comes from it, I don't think it's an ideal solution. But again, it depends on your business. Security-wise, I'd love to say that I know the ins and outs of their technology and their SSL and all their security, but I'm not going to say anything in case Mark Zuckerberg and his lawyers come after me after this, because I'm sure they're watching, Jeri.
Yeah, well, they should be. They should be. Do we have any more questions?
I think that's it. I'm just double checking.
Just going to double check. I'd just like to say a massive thank you to everybody that has tuned in to my first LinkedIn Live. It's quite surreal because Lee and I feel like we're only talking to each other, so we can't see if anybody else is watching, but it's probably better that way, I think, actually.
It is better that way, yeah.
That's it for the questions.
That's it. Amazing.
Just a few highs to the people who said hi earlier. We got Simon, Nestor, Dan, Martin from Quebec, Canada.
Oh,
excellent.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
Pete, Zoran, Kelly, Addy, Tony, Jamie, Drew, and Alistair, Ashley, Robert.
Oh, Alistair and Ashley Roberts. Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and saying hello. I'm sure we'll be doing more of these. And huge thank you to Lee for persevering with us today with our technology problems. And thank you for joining me on this LinkedIn Live. And
thank you so much for having me.
It's been brilliant. And as I mentioned earlier, we've absolutely loved using Melu. It's worked really well. It's generated loads of leads for us. I just think people need to give it a try. You've got nothing to lose. So just try it out. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, great. You know then that you've tried it. But you could be missing out on a lot of leads. So give it a go. Just try it.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
And don't forget, you can go onto the website. What is the website, Lee?
It's meluchat.com, which is meluchat.com, and you'll see a try Melu button nearly all over the place. Orange button, top right, and you can try it for free. Just a simple form. Don't forget to write Jeri. However you want to write it. Jeri, Kerry, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Jenny, Becky, I get called everything.
Just put a woman's name in the field and it'll be fine.
Technically, Jeri is a woman's and a man's name. So, just
true.
If you put something in the box, it'll be fine.
Great. If you're using it as a result of this podcast, then let us know on social. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, if anybody gives it a try, please let us know and tag us on social media so that we know that you've tried it and you've tried it because of this podcast. That'd be amazing. So thank you, Lee, and thanks again everyone for watching, and we'll see everybody soon, hopefully.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Cheers. Bye.
Are we definitely on?